Hi, my name is Denise Henry. I'm the director for the Center of Teaching, Learning, and Leadership at Colorado State University in Pueblo. We're going to go through redesigning an assignment to transform it from absolutely no use of generative AI allowed to being able to use AI as a collaborative partner. This is something we'll go through in real time together, and I'm creating this for a faculty member who teaches a class in which the content I am not familiar. So I'm going to create a redesigned lesson and then share it with the faculty to further massage. Okay, so the tools we'll be using today, tools and resources for this project, are loaded up already. So I collect all my materials at the very beginning of the process, and that just helps me get a little bit farther ahead in the work as I go along. Sometimes I decide that I don't need to use everything I've gathered, or sometimes I'll get halfway through and decide, oh, I could really use something else, some other resource. But thinking ahead about what resources you'll likely use in whatever you're creating will just help you move along a little bit more quickly. We are going to use an app called NotebookLM. It's free to anyone with a Google or Gmail account. The URL is notebook.lm for language model.google.com. In Notebook, you can have up to 50 free notebooks. Each notebook can contain 50 source materials, and each source material can have up to 50,000 words. So you can upload even an ebook if you wanted to. It's a closed system, meaning that it's only drawing information from the sources you select in your source list that you have uploaded to your notebook or linked to your notebook from the web. This is one of the reasons why I really like this application. It was developed for university research, teaching, and learning specifically. And it's very helpful in the way that it does not go out to the entire web and scour it for information related to your prompt and then return sometimes some kind of random stuff, and you have no idea even how it came to that conclusion that that was something that was related. This helps you be in complete control of the information sources it's using to respond to your prompts. So I have my NotebookLM. I have the prompt that I'm going to use for the assignment redesign, and we'll go through that together. I have the original assignment. I have an AI literacy framework for higher education. This is developed by EDUCAUSE, which is the organization for educational technology in higher ed. And last year they did a good bit of research and developed, shared their whole research project. And then they got a global team of university educators together and looked at how to design a framework based on those findings for AI use in college. And so this is a really nice framework. It helps us define what AI literacy in higher ed could mean and look like, and it gives us a framework for students, faculty, and staff. What's really nice about this resource is that it's evidence-based. It's got a global community of educators who contributed to it. And they've developed a framework that has domains with competencies within them. So domain of technical understanding, evaluative skills, practical application, and ethical considerations. And then on that same page, it gives you an example of what some student learning outcomes could look like, aligned to the different competencies, and some ideas for what the actual learning activities aligned to those competencies in each particular domain might look like. So this can help us really target the use of our implementation of allowing generative AI to be used in our classes. It'll help us use it as a learning tool and not just, hey, just go use AI. Instead of that, we can really focus in on, which competency are we developing in our students? What skills and knowledge? I've also pulled up the CSU Pueblo Provost website with syllabus resources. And this link here for generative AI resource with sample statements opens up in a PDF in the web browser, and it gives us some considerations for class policy, some things to think about with what our policy communicates to students, how what we do in our class impacts the policy that we select, and some sample statements. And these sample statements, again, are based on a framework developed and then redesigned at least once to update it. This framework is used primarily for assessments. It was designed for assessments. We've adapted it for assignments because the language is really clear. So we're going to be looking at the collaboration level of permitted use today in this work. Okay, so I'm going to give us a little bit more real estate here, and we're going to pop into NotebookLM. First thing we need to do in this process is get our source material into Notebook. So I'm going to click create a new notebook. When you are a brand new user, this is the first screen you'll see when you open your very first instance of Notebook. We can choose different types of files to upload. We can copy text, we can link YouTube videos, websites, and import or link from our Google Drive. I'll say this again, it imports. It imports, not links from Google Drive. So if I link a document here, and then I go back and make some changes to that document, NotebookLM won't pick up on those changes. So I'll need to delete that from the source materials and reintegrate the revised document into my NotebookLM. So that's a really important thing to consider. Okay, so I've got some resources in Google Drive. I'm going to upload the original assignment. I'm going to upload from Drive. What else do I want? That might be it from Drive. I think that I'll stop there with the Drive. Oh, my little cancel button. There it is. I'm going to import from the web. So I'm going to go out to the website for the EDUCAUSE framework, the student AI in literacy and teaching and learning. I'm going to grab that URL and paste that in. I'm going to hit enter. So you can add multiple URLs. You can separate with a space or a new line. I'm just going to separate it with a new line. And then I'm going to come over and grab the PDF that is that syllabus resource, because I want to use that in the guidance of what I create also. So I'm going to insert that. So I've got the assignment, I've got the some learning alignment, some learning target alignments specific to AI use from EDUCAUSE, and then I've got the syllabus resource guide. When I come back to this, sometime later, I might look at this and go, oh, I can hover over and kind of see what this file is. But if I want to rename it just for my own purposes, for ease of use here, I can rename it and clear out that old name. And then I'm just going to call this CSUP syllabus AI guide. And I'm going to say it's for the 25-26 school year. In case it changes, that way I'll have that little information there too. So there's my rename source. Notice that all of them are checked right now, so that means that any queries that I run to the agent here in this middle panel will draw from all of them. If I want to just cherry pick sources, I can do that by deselecting all of them and then picking the ones I want. New to the app since the last time I was on here is this little filter feature. So you can filter by, only my docs, my PDFs, and my websites. That's pretty cool. By the time you're watching this, there may be new features as well. There's been several new things come out since the school year started this August. Okay, so the lay of the land is that over on the far left, you have your source material. The middle panel is where you'll interact with the agent. And on the right side, that right panel is your studio. The studio contains pre-built resource types that you can create. You can also prompt those along with the little pencil to target the way that those resources are created. All of those, just like it says down here in this panel, all those studio outputs are saved there in a list. And you can also add notes. One super important thing, since this is a closed system, none of your chats will be saved after you close out the app. So anything that you want to preserve, always save it to a note or cut and paste it into a document somewhere. The only thing that's saved is what you create over in the studio side. So those things are saved automatically. Nothing else is saved. All right. So now we have our information here. And I'm going to come over to my prompts. So I have a couple prompts on this page, so I cued myself with step 1. So my first thing I want to do is redesign the assignment, and then the second thing I thought I might do is have the notebook agent help me create a guide for me as a teacher, like a teaching guide basically, and just like help me attend to some different things about teaching with AI. This might be helpful, might not. We'll see what it gives us. Okay, it's all one big experiment. Okay, so my prompts follow a general format, and I just like to give a lot of context. I find the more context I give, the better the output is. Explain like I'm 5. I try to use very direct, simple language. I try not to use any jargon unless it's in the source material, that kind of thing. So in this one, I say who I am. I always say I'm a regional comprehensive because I think that context is important. That just contextualizes the institution that we're in. Talk about my students. Who are they? Anything special about them? Here's a place that I could also add, like, this is a nature-focused class, and we're really interested on being outside and ecology and environmentalism. So make sure you pull some elements of that in there. I say that my students are novices at using Gen AI in academic settings, which I think pretty much all students are at this point, or most. I want to say all. You can never say all. Many students are. So I'm like, we need to guide them to use, and I had lit maps in here, but I'm going to take that out. That'll be a separate lesson that we do. In this particular lesson, I'm going to guide them to use NotebookLM because I want to do some sneaky learning with them, and hopefully in their use of NotebookLM, they'll see the other resources that are available to them, particularly the flashcards, practice quizzes, mind maps. There's a lot of really solid, empirically based learning strategies baked into this app for students, which I love. So, and also universal design for learning because they can get audio or video representations of their source material as well. So we're going to try to do a little sneaky learning, but we're also going to give it the prompt. In the prompt, we're going to guide it about other Gen AI apps, because we don't want to close the gate on students or send them down a narrow road. What we're trying to do is future-proof their learning by helping them build AI literacy. So the way I'm addressing that is after I say, what exactly I'm trying to do, I need to redesign this assignment. And I want it to list the competencies that the students are developing at the beginning of the assignment. So I want students to see that first so that they know there's a purpose for what you're doing. And this is the purpose I'm trying to focus them to. This is linking to the transparency and teaching and learning framework for higher education. So tilting that, I'm going to tell them the purpose. I'm going to emphasize that they are not required to use AI. So we don't want to force students to use AI. Some students are creeped out by it, don't want to use it. Good, fine. You do you. Unless you feel really strongly that this is an AI focused assignment that they have to do it with, have to use AI for whatever reason, then you could require it. But here I'm going to leave that open to the students. I'm also going to say they can use any resources. They can use any app, and resources are shared for specific apps. And I should probably say resources are shared specifically for NotebookLM. Because it is an app. I want to say. So, want some specific information about NotebookLM, but they don't have to use it. And if they do use AI, they are required to follow the assignment guidelines. This should also say, and AI use requirements. Okay. I want to align the students' use of Gen AI in this assignment to one of the competencies from the EDUCAUSE literacy framework. And I want them to make that overt to students. So I want students to be attending to what the learning objectives. Okay, so then I pasted the domain name and the competency and the text in there of what that competency looks like. This is the first time I've ever done it, so we'll just see what happens, and then we'll just keep refining until we get something that we like. Okay, so there's all of that. So I'm going to take this gigantic prompt, and let's see if I have too much text for the agent to process. If we do, we'll turn it into a source material, and then then we'll do some magic with it as a source material element and not a prompt. Okay, so here we go. Now, it won't let me type. Why not? Because I don't have any resources selected. So here we go. I'm going to start with, I'm just going to pull it all together. Let's just grab everything we've got and see what it gives us. Okay. And paste. All right. That was not too much text. Sometimes it's too much text, and then I'll have to turn that text into a bit of source material and then tell the agent to use the source titled, whatever the source is titled, to do the thing. Okay. You can see we have 3 sources selected, so we can double check ourselves there too. Okay. Oh no, look. It is too big. Okay. This is good. All right. It is too big because my prompter is grayed out, so we can try to take up spaces, but I bet you that won't even help it. So what I'm going to do is just delete all that out of here. All right. We'll just delete all that out. We'll come to add a source. we'll choose our Google Drive. And then let's see, the last document that I touched, where's my prompts? I might need to, let's see, assignment redesign prompt. If I put the word prompt at the beginning of that, that will make it easier to find. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to come back over here. I'm going to close this and then add source from my drive. And there's my prompt. So that made it easier to find. And I can be sure I've got the prompt. I can insert that. Okay. I'm going to say use the information in step 1 of the source titled. I want to make sure I just get this completely correct. So that's the source title to assign the and this might be overkill, it might not, but sometimes doing a little bit extra work at the beginning can save us a ton of time in revising. So there we go. And let's just see what it gives us. So now we've got 4 sources because we've included our prompt. We know it's good to go because that's dark blue. Let's see what it gives us. Okay, that took a couple seconds. It's really hard to read in this tiny middle window. So what I'm going to do is jump to the bottom. And we could either save this to a note and then it would chuck it over into the source material and be saved as long as we wanted it to be saved. Or we can copy it, which is what I'm going to do, and create a new Google Doc. And then paste it in my new Google Doc. All right. I'm going to fix my margins because my default is very narrow. And I want it to be a little bit wider for the assignment. Hopefully this will turn into the assignment we share with students. Okay, so now you can look through this top part above the line is just some information back to me about the prompting and the work that was done. So the redesign replaces the prohibition policy on AI. And it introduces the required goals. So now I can skim through and decide if I like this assignment. Alrighty, so I see that it attended to the information that I wanted to make the AI literacy components overt and to front load them in the assignment. So it did that. On the direction sheet, it did include the literacy competencies. This is a table, but it's created as a table with no grid lines. So I would just need to go to table properties and, oops, I picked up more than the table. That's why I couldn't find it there. Okay. Let's see if my table, there's my table options. And I can just come over to color and tell it I want some grid lines here. Let's see. So that'll just help me with my readability, and I just start cleaning up the formatting. You can make your table larger. You can, do all your stuff, all your formatting magic. One giveaway with anything that's created with AI is that it just has random bolded text to highlight what it thinks you should be paying most attention to, emphasis wise. So I go through and I clean all of that up. I do see the language from my prompt. I see the guidance that you're not required to use AI, and that there will be some guidance here about it. You must evaluate and modify. Okay, so Let's see, permitted use is collaboration level. Partner in the work, it drafts, provides feedback, and students refine and build on the output. Here's a sample statement. It picked this up from the syllabus language. So this is a sample statement I may wish to include. So I can just, make a little note to myself. Include somewhere. I don't know if I'll do it here or somewhere else. Or many places. Maybe I'll put this on Blackboard and on the assignment sheet. You must understand the difference between AI, and it even used my language of cognitive crutch. So yay for that. Let's see. And then here, since this is not my assignment, I can't just skim it and say that it accurately picked this up. This does look on first glance like the assignment. It has the correct dates, that sort of thing. But of course, I will check this against the original assignment that the faculty sent me, and then I will also have her double check it just to make sure. So that is the redesign of the assignment. So even if I don't like everything it's done, I can modify it. It's generally faster to edit than create, especially with a solid prompt. So save your prompts, save them in a note or in that notebook or in some other storage place so that you can come back to them and use them again. So I'll stop this video here because it's getting pretty long and create a new video that's going to focus on student resources for the assignment using AI. Please do reach out to me anytime. I can be of assistance creating teaching resources with generative AI.